2019 coming to an end, we are not only going into a new year with 2020, we're also going into a new decade. So I wanted to rank my top 10 favorite movies of the 2010s, and this was a very, very hard list to make. So I got a few honorable mentions I wanted to put in here, but I couldn't because I have my top 10. So these are in no particular order. I've got Baby Driver, just an incredible action-packed movie. Another, probably one of my favorite animated movies of the decade, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Another one that's not really a massive surprise, Toy Story 3. A great horror movie with a sequel coming out next year that I'm really excited for, A Quiet Place. A sequel that we got this year, which wasn't as good as the original, but it is an instant classic in my opinion. One of the best X-Men movies we've got, Logan. And then one that I was debating because it's good, but I wasn't sure if it's one of the best of the decade. I've got Whiplash. So they are my honorable mentions for the best movies of the decade. Let's go on to number 10. Coming in at number 10, I've got Hacksaw Ridge. This movie, it blew my mind the first time I watched it. It's such an incredible story, especially because this movie is a true story, and the way Mel Gibson directed it, he puts you straight into the action. It's a real gritty and dark movie where you feel like you are on the battlefield, especially for the action sequences. And there's the main character, who Andrew Garfield plays phenomenally well. I don't know if he got an Oscar nomination for this movie. I'm not actually sure, but if he didn't, he deserves one because he was incredible in this. And the character he plays, who's actually a real man who actually did this, was a medic who doesn't want to pick up a weapon on battlefield. It's phenomenal that this man actually did this in real life. As well, you got the supporting cast of Vince Vaughn, and Vince Vaughn in this movie, he blew my mind because him, to me, he's always been the funny guy. He's always been guys from comedies. So to see him in this movie, it really surprised me how dramatic he was able to play this role as well. You got Hugo Weaving, who I actually got to meet, who's a very nice man, but he plays the father, and he plays the dad is an alcoholic in this movie, and his skin and whole body is just deteriorating so much. It's just to see his performance in this movie. All the performances are incredible. The direction is incredible. The story itself, it had me hooked from the minute, and I think this movie is fantastic. And if you haven't seen it, I think it's on Netflix. Just do yourself a favour and watch it. And coming in at number 9, I've got La La Land. When it comes to this movie, going into it, I was very skeptical. I was like, is this going to be good? I wasn't very that much pushed. Believing it, I adored it. I've seen it many times since on the Blu-ray. I listen to the soundtrack on a regular basis. Like when I was putting this list together a couple of days ago, I put the soundtrack on, and I actually haven't put it off until like literally now to record this. But this movie, I think it's a very special movie. It's one that it doesn't happen very often. Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone, the chemistry they have in this movie is very believable. Like people say Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga's chemistry in A Star Is Born is so believable, which it is. I believe that they were actually in love. But this movie as well, I think it's the exact same. The music in this movie, all of it. A City of Stars is probably the most iconic song for this movie. There's a lot of great songs, but I think Cities of Stars is the only one that's very memorable, and one that will be remembered for years to come. The story itself, though, even though it's very simple, it's just two people who are so passionate about something, and they're just working their way to get through it with a bit of love and romance thrown into it. Even though it's very simple in that aspect, it's still a very complex story where it doesn't work out in the end. You think a romantic comedy, oh yeah, they'll end up together. They don't end up together in the end, which I actually really loved, that they don't end up together. That's not just because you love someone in the moment doesn't mean you have to end up with them. I thought that was the best way to kind of wrap up this movie. And coming in number 8, I've got Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. This entire trilogy, I think, is probably a masterpiece of a trilogy. But I had to pick one to put on this ranking. Okay, I went for Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which I think is the best out of them all. This movie, to see, it's a time skip of, I think it's 10 years into the whole ape apocalypse, and to see the ape civilization, as well as I love seeing movies and TVs. That's why I think I'm a massive fan of The Walking Dead, seeing the world after an apocalypse, seeing how everything is decayed and trees and all that growing over. So to see it in this movie, I thought it was gorgeous as well. And all the apes, we got Caesar and Koba. I think the bad guy's name is Koba. Is such a menacing bad guy, even though you understand where he's coming from because he was tortured by humans. Why would he want to help humans? But you also see where Caesar's coming from, where he's like, just get them to do what they want and get rid of them as fast as they can. And you can see the conflict building between the two of them. It even carries on to the third movie, even though Koba's not there. It carries on in Caesar's mental state. It carries on perfectly. Our human characters, you got Gary Oldman, he's phenomenal in this because it's Gary Oldman, and the other guy, I think his name is Jason Clarke. He's also in Pet Sematary of this year, but he's good in it. He's not. I don't think he's as good as James Franco. I thought James Franco was a lot better in the first movie than Jason Clarke as our human lead was in this movie. But this movie alone, I thought it's by far the best. Like, you get to see horses riding in Like, so you get to see apes riding on horses with machine guns. Like, if you don't like that, what the hell do you like? And coming in at number 7, I've got Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. I had to get Harry Potter in there somewhere. But this movie, capping off all the 7 movies prior, just did it phenomenally. Seeing the final battle between Harry and Voldemort, it's something I didn't think we'd see it the way we got it. Like, the way Voldemort dusting off, like, Thanos snapped him, I didn't expect that's how uh, Voldemort would go out. But all the other sacrifices, because I seen this movie before reading the books, so to see the death of Snape, I was shocked. When I hearing the reveal of what Dumbledore had planned through, Harry Potter dying and then come back to life, I love that scene when Neville's giving his speech and you see Harry in Hagrid's hands and then he's kind of jumping back and he falls on the ground, and the big reveal, like, oh yeah, he is alive. And just so even the first act of this movie, when they're breaking into Gringotts, a lot of this movie, it's the most action packed of all the Harry Potter movies. It's the most memorable of all the Harry Potter movies. If I put Philosopher's Stone on, I'm not finished watching Harry Potter until I get to this movie. And coming in at number 6, I've got Django Unchained. This movie is by far my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie. Just what he was able to do, making it a western. You got Jamie Foxx in our title lead, and he's phenomenal in this movie. Seeing his twist, or not his twist, his growth from the very first moment when he was afraid to make eye contact with people, to literally just killing anyone just because he did them wrong. As well, you got Leonardo DiCaprio playing the villain who plays him so maniacally, so mischievous. He's just everything about me. He's just a slimy guy you shouldn't trust, but he just plays it so well. You got Sam Jackson in a role which wouldn't seem like a Samuel L. Jackson role because he's loud, but he's not really loud. He can be quiet in parts, but when he's loud, when he wants to be loud, he's very loud. So if Samuel Jackson works in that part, just seeing him old, it's also very weird. You got Christoph Waltz playing Django's kind of friend and mentor as well. This is my introduction to Christoph Waltz. Whenever I see him, I just immediately go to Django Unchained. It's a movie that it's a very long movie, but I don't feel the runtime because I think this is one of Quentin Tarantino's best. It is his best movie in my opinion. I think it's better than Pulp Fiction and all the other movies. I watched it. I haven't seen it in a while. I think the last time I watched it was with my girlfriend, and she absolutely adored it. So I'm kind of glad that, because it's not his most popular movie. It's when people think of Quentin Tarantino, they go to Pulp Fiction, they go to Reservoir Dogs, Kill Bill, and now they're kind of at multiple times in Hollywood, and they're kind of forgetting about this movie. But I think it is by far his best movie. Coming in number 5, I got A Star Is Born. This movie, it was incredible. I was never actually going to see it because it was never on my radar, but my uncle kept going to me, you should go and see it, you should see it, you should see it, you should see it. So I said, finally, I'll go see it, because I had a choice one weekend, see this, Venom, or First Man. But I said, no, First Man seems like the safest bet, so I went to go see that. It's my least favourite of the 3. But A Star Is Born, it is incredible. I actually couldn't get over there's a scene at the very start when you see Bradley Cooper, and it's kind of foreshadowing the end, and you didn't catch that the first time, but I caught it the second time. The music in this movie as well, I love it. This is another one of the soundtrack, just like La La Land, that I listen to a lot. Going into it, I didn't know, especially because I waited a few weeks after. I'm kind of really glad none of the music got spoiled for me, because Shallow it's one of the best songs from a movie, probably of all time. It's an incredible song. The way they sing it together is phenomenal. As I said with La La Land, I believe that they did fall in love throughout this movie. It's one of those believable relationships that you don't always get in movies. Sometimes I don't buy the relationships. Like if you look at, say, the MCU, for example, I believe Tony and Pepper, but I don't really believe Wanda and Vision. I don't really believe Jane and Thor. So a lot of them, it can be a hit and miss. Sometimes you can really knock it out of the park and understand, like, oh yeah, that's a believable relationship, which I thought they did perfectly with these. Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper act off each other perfectly. Bradley Cooper's able to sing just as well as Lady Gaga is, and she's able to perform and act just as well as he did. So I couldn't get over how well this movie came together. I don't think this movie could have happened any better than it actually could have, because this is like Lady Gaga. She was born to play this role, and Bradley Cooper's first directorial debut was incredible, and I don't know how he's going to top it. Coming in number 4, I've got Creed 2. This movie ends the Rocky franchise perfectly. Like, it ends Rocky's story that he's now with his kid, and I'm happy. I don't want to see that, because after the end of Creed 2, or at the end of Creed, I thought he was going to die of cancer, and I'm really glad that's not the ending we got for Rocky. I'm glad that Rocky's ending is now he's off with his son and his grandchild. Creed's ending, it's good where they left it open-ended, where they can come back and do a third movie if they want, but they can also leave out a satisfying ending where it is. And I think personally, I think they should leave where it is. We're 8 movies into the Rocky franchise. I think it's good, just leave where it is, because this movie, I couldn't get over how much I felt during this movie. Seeing him against Drago, hearing his ribs crash, every time he got punched in the ribs, I was grabbing my side, just because it was so painful. The music in this movie, like Running, is by far one of the best Rocky soundtrack songs of all time. Every time I hear it, I get so motivated. In the gym, you'd put that song on and the Rocky soundtrack, and it just gets me so motivated. Michael B. Jordan's performance in this movie is phenomenal. Sylvester Stallone's is one of the best of his career. It's one of those movies that you do have to watch all of the franchise beforehand, but if you got a free day, why wouldn't you not want to watch the entire Rocky franchise? And coming in at number 3, I've got The Wolf of Wall Street. This is personally my favourite Martin Scorsese movie. Whenever I tell that to people, they always look at me like, have you seen Goodfellas? Have you seen Casino? Yes, I've seen them. I think The Wolf of Wall Street is the best. Leonardo DiCaprio's performance in this movie it's his best one ever. I don't understand how he did not win the Oscar for this. I haven't seen The Revenant, but how could he have not won the Oscar for this movie? He is incredible. As well, you got Jonah Hill in this movie, who, up until this point, just like the way I said earlier on with Vince Vaughn in Hacksaw Ridge, he's always been the funny guy to me. He's incredible in this movie. He's such an amazing supporting character, or supporting actor in this movie. The story in this movie as well, it's a true story. I love true stories, especially true stories that seem absolutely ridiculous. Like, how did that actually happen? And this movie itself is incredible. He's a horrible person, but the stuff he does is so amusing, and to see it play out on this movie is incredible. The stuff he did, I'm surprised he's not dead. This movie also, thankfully, introduced us to Margot Robbie, and her in this movie she's incredible in this movie for obvious reasons. But this movie itself, not only does it have amazing performances, but just the story of seeing a man go from literally nothing into being one of the most richest men in the world, just to lose it all. I love it. I absolutely adore this movie. I've seen it so many times. It's another one of those movies that I watched it one time at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't actually switch it off till this movie was over, because I adore it. I watched it recently again with my girlfriend. She doesn't like it. I think this movie really is, it's more a movie made for men. I have never spoken to a woman who actually enjoys this movie. I'm not being sexist. I could be wrong. There could be a woman out there who loves it, but I think this is a movie that mostly men can enjoy, because there's just a lot to this movie that women they don't really enjoy it as much as men do. But again, I'm not being sexist. Coming in at number 2, I've got Toy Story 4. You're probably all sick of me talking about Toy Story at this stage, but this movie, I can't get over how incredible it is. Not only is the animation absolutely stunning in this movie, the story itself, it's phenomenal. All our new characters, even though when they first announced they were doing a Toy Story movie and they weren't really going to be following our main characters, but they're going to have Woody and a lot of new side characters, I wasn't very intrigued, because I love our characters. I wish we got to see more of them in this movie. But the new characters that they brought in to replace them, they're really good. Like Ducky and Bunny, as I've got here, are absolutely hilarious. You got Duke Kaboom, you've got Forky, who are all incredible. Bringing Bo Peep back, I thought was a great idea, especially because her kind of mention in Toy Story 3 always had me wondering, like, what actually did happen to Bo? And we got to see it at the start of this movie, and it was heartbreaking. That scene at the start of the movie is so sad. Luckily, I didn't start crying then. I started crying at the end when Woody and Buzz say goodbye to each other. But again, that scene at the very start it absolutely is heartbreaking, but it is beautiful. Just the animation of the rain, seeing the rain on Woody's face as he sees Bo going away. It is actually heartbreaking, and to see what Woody has been going through since Andy's left. That he's not a favorite toy anymore. He's not even really a favorite toy. He's just a toy that gets left behind because Bonnie doesn't like him, which in a way I don't really understand why he's the only toy she does not want. Because like maybe it could have only been that 2 weeks that Woody wasn't being played with, and then after that she really wants to play with him. But I just wondered, like, of all the toys, why is Woody the only one she doesn't want to play with? That's my only real problem. Like, why Woody? But other than that, this movie, it's incredible. I wouldn't mind the Toy Story 5 just because their track record. Everyone goes, oh, I don't want Toy Story 5. This ended perfectly. Yeah, but I want to see more. The track record of these people are just incredible. They've never done a bad Toy Story movie. They've never even done an okay Toy Story movie. All 3 of these Toy Story movies are absolutely incredible. Or all 4 of them are absolutely incredible. And honestly, I wouldn't mind a 5th one. Coming in at number 1, I am cheating massively here, but it's Avengers Infinity War and Endgame put together because I couldn't decide. I think these both movies, they work together so perfectly. It is like Harry Potter 1, 2. These are 2 movies that were split together. Because they couldn't do a 5.5 hour, no, probably a 6 hour movie. There's no way they could put a 6 hour movie in the cinema, so they had to split it in half. And these 2 movies are they're incredible. It's a combination of 10 years. Like, if I could, I'd put the entire MCU here just because they did a phenomenal job. They did a job that no one ever expected could be done. You got all these characters that are being topped, especially in Endgame or Infinity War. I think someone said originally it was 60 characters they had to work around. That is phenomenal. Every character in this movie, they get their moment to shine. In both these movies, every character gets a moment that you can remember. Oh, yeah, I remember, like, say in Avengers Infinity War, Black Widow, when she actually killed, I don't know the character's name, but it's not Proxima Midnight, is it? No, it's one that when she actually comes up and she kills them, and when Vision or Wanda actually kills Vision, and then Thanos comes up behind her. Every character, you name a character, you could think of a very iconic moment. If not in Infinity War, they get it in Endgame, and that's incredible that they were able to do it throughout this entire franchise. This franchise itself is phenomenal. Like, if you haven't seen the MCU, why not? It's the biggest thing in cinema right now, and it's continuing on. Even though it's called Avengers Endgame, it's not the Endgame. It's a jumping off point for some people where they think, okay, Tony Stark's not there, I'm not there, so they're not continuing on. I don't think that's going to happen. I think these movies are not going to go anywhere. People are saying it, but they're going to see Black Widow. They're going to see the Eternal, Spider-Man, Thor. Everyone's going to go see these movies. But even though they're saying they're jumping off, they're not. It's an end game, but it's also a starting off point. So that's why I couldn't decide which one is my number one, because I love both these movies. They're both movies that are so watchable, and I couldn't decide which is one, so I had to put them both here together. I know it is cheating. So that is my ranking of my top 10 plus honorable mention. So that's my ranking of my top 10 favorite and honorable mentions of the decade, and it was very hard to put this list together. So if you can, let me know your top 10 favorite movies of this decade, or even your top favorite movie of the decade in the comments down below. Click that subscribe button so you can see other movie reviews, rankings. I got another ranking coming. It's gonna be my top most anticipated movies of 2020, which is gonna be a very hard list to make because there's a lot of movies coming out. I don't know how I'm gonna limit it down to 10. So let me know what your ranking is down below of these. Click that subscribe button, and as always, thanks for watching.